come a wee bit closer to me.
You fancy me.
We are really a bad combination. Do this in the outtakes.
I'm not interested.
I'm going to show that to Ruth. Right. Right. It's not been washed since Saturday. I know. Right, be serious. Right.
Right, go.
Right. I can't, I've got the giggles, man. Right. I was on a flow as well.
Stop, right.
So. Oh my god, I'm not going to do this now. Right, I need to. And I'm already not happy because
I want to call her Andri.
I'm already not happy because she's in the labour room and I'm sitting here and she's trying to patronise me with, it's a Greek name, Maya, and I'm going, it also means witch. I was ashamed of myself because I remember saying this is big for me to admit, but you knew, and I said, Ruth, I haven't got it in me just now. I can't take Georgie. I'm not in a good place to take Georgie.
Then when she went away, when that didn't happen, you beat yourself up.
Yeah, and I said I hated myself. How could I do that? I'm a coward.
You've got a lot of veins in your feet.
I'm very veiny. My mum was like that as well. And welcome to my channel. For those of you that don't know, I am Andri, and right here I have Susan. This is the outlaw. This is Ruth's mum, and for those of you that have been following the vlogs, the Cyprus vlogs, you'll all recognise Susan. So we were basically the naughty children on holiday. Is that right, Susan?
Very naughty.
We were the naughty children. We were the ones that were having fun because we're at that age.
The children were grown. The children were the grown-ups.
That's right.
Were the children.
Yeah,
really
totally. Can I ask you to come a wee bit closer to me, Susan? Just a wee
No,
bit.
no.
Come on, you know you want to. Just so we can get you. That's better. There we go. Susan said to me before we started what we're going to chat about, and I said we're going to let it flow. We're going to discuss Susan's hair because Patricia wants to know. She wants to know about Susan's hair and how she's let it grow naturally and the process of that. We're going to taste, Susan's going to taste my sauerkraut because she's quite the expert on sauerkraut. And I brought some different things for Susan to taste as well. Have you heard of shushuko? Did we taste this in the hotel? No. This is shushuko. You all have seen this on the vlogs. So this is made from grapes. It's very natural, so it's the same process when they make wine. And
sausage. It comes in a sausage.
Yes, that's right. In a string, and they string it and they dip it, and this is all the. So these are all the things that my auntie sends me.
I taste it.
Okay. Susan is a foodie. You love a variety of foods that come from different countries. What do you think?
Really nice. What's good about it? It's not sweet.
It's not sweet. This is
really
well.
good.
You can get some that are sweet, and they add lots of sugar and things. But because I don't eat sugar, my auntie makes.
But what's in that?
That's just a hazel. It's not a hazelnut. It's a
pistachio.
No, the big one.
Walnuts.
A walnut. It's a walnut. It's a walnut, and then it's made with all the grape skins and the juices and all of that, and it's
That's really good. So has that got like byproduct of a grape? Is that the byproduct?
Like this. That's the word. That's it. That's what it is. I had to look up what that meant. That's what it is because I'm
a genius.
That's what it is. So
that's exactly MasterChef tomorrow.
That's exactly what it is.
Very good.
Okay, so shushuko is normally served with alcohol. You know, it's part of the meze. Cheers, by the way. She's taking the wine before she tastes my sauerkraut. Are you ready?
I love sauerkraut.
So, and Susan has one problem. She's too honest for her own good. So go for it.
I'm not going to. Are you going to eat it?
Not just now.
Can I use the fork then?
Yeah, that's put the fork.
I
No.
think you're wonderful, but I don't want to share it.
Oh, here comes Rico.
Mm.
Oh.
That is lovely. Okay, cool. That's nice.
Grilled halloumi. Thank you, Rico. Come and say hi. Come and just say a quick hi.
I have tasted a lot of sauerkraut.
Hi.
And this is
Is that good? It's good, isn't
very
it?
good sauerkraut. Mm.
Science.
No, it is. No, it is good. Seriously.
And the salt's good, isn't it? We measured the salt and all that.
It's just right. So this is done in brine.
Yeah.
So you're
Oh, it's its own brine. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
The water that came from the.
Yeah, and lemon. Don't put
Right.
No,
lemon.
it's just salt.
That is
Do you
really
want to
good.
take some?
Do you know what all you need of sauerkraut is 1 tablespoonful a day
I know.
to
I
feed
know.
all your good.
Yeah, Patricia told me that. Wait, am I going to keep
Hi,
doing this
Patricia.
for you?
No, I'm not. Okay.
Do you want to try the halloumis taste good? So this is the halloumi that my auntie sends me. So it's not like your supermarket halloumis. Rico's just grilled some.
I'll just stay. This is really nice. No, I'm actually, all kidding aside, I'm very taken with the sauerkraut.
Yeah, because I expected it to be soggy and...
Sometimes it can taste a wee bit earthy. Especially, well, I think that's really good. I'm impressed with that sauerkraut. And it's really, 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 really good for your stomach.
It's really good, yeah. Which is why I decided to make it so good for your...
But anything fermented is good.
That's right, absolutely. I
Is
think we've lost...
Is this for me too?
Well, it's for us to share.
Right. Just get any excuse to touch
Oh,
me.
we are, honestly, we are a terrible combination. Right, as you...
Lily.
Lily needs to get
Is that
in
a
there.
name?
Because...
Is it Lulu or Lily?
No, that's
I
Lily.
mean, who was 2 dolls that call them Lulu and Lily?
But we called her Lily because when we adopted her, her name was Millie.
Okay, I don't want to know.
Because we already have a Millie, we decided to call her Lily so it wouldn't confuse her.
Really good.
Talking about good
Swedish as well.
good gut health.
Uh-huh. Good.
You
gut
had
health.
you had a few problems, didn't you?
It's an understatement of the year.
Gut wise.
I had ulcerative colitis of sudden onset. It disappeared one night, one day.
What do you mean it just appeared?
I just had, thought I was having a bug, and then it just progressed into ulcerative colitis over a period of 2 weeks. And I was hospitalised for 3 months. It was horrible. But I'm all right now.
I know. Yeah, you ended up with a bag as well.
I ended up having my colon exploded in hospital. Literally exploded. I was very fortunate to be in hospital at the time, otherwise I probably wouldn't be here today. And get taken to theatre, was given it was quite interesting because the surgeon at the time said to me, one of the surgeons wanted to take everything away and I would have a permanent ileostomy forever, obviously permanent. And there's an older man, a Mr. Mukherjee, I'll remember his name, and he came back and he says, no, this lady, don't do it all at one time, just do a partial. So they took my colon away and left everything else intact and gave me an ileostomy. And then I got an ileoanal pouch, which is they replumbed me inside, and after 3 years, I had the ileostomy for 3 years, replumbed me inside, and now I'm back to normal.
You had the bag for 3
But
years.
only because all my skin broke down and I had a horrendous time with allergy to adhesive and stuff like that.
Oh right.
It wasn't the nicest time.
But you coped with it really well. Am I right in thinking you had it when Ruth and George got married? Was it?
No, I had it. It was away by then.
Was it away by
When
then?
Emma's wedding.
Oh right, okay.
But to get back to the ileostomy thing, it's not something that I took to very easily.
But would anybody?
Very personal thing. But when it came round to, I've been to lots of surgeons who said they couldn't do anything about it, and eventually I got a surgeon who said, yeah, no problem at all. She was absolutely a marvel in Glasgow Royal, and she reversed it and she created a pouch from my small intestine and brought it down, and they made a pouch inside me and did me all back up again. And it's quite miracle.
And you pretty much live a normal life.
Absolutely.
Initially they said you needed to watch the food.
They said I needed to watch foods. I couldn't eat tomatoes or mushrooms, but I can eat anything I want. Chocolate's not good for me. Don't eat chocolate. But I do eat a lot of fermented foods.
Which are good.
Gherkins and sauerkraut. And lots of fibre. good fibre.
Right, these are all the things that are really good.
Well, these are things that a normal pair. I'm not, well, I'm as
yeah.
normal
These
as
are all
I
the
can be,
things
but
I focus on now.
I think
It's all good for your gut health.
Everybody's different. You've got to be very careful.
Absolutely.
I can't say to you that if you've got ulcerative colitis, go and eat sauerkraut. It'll be better. It won't.
That's right.
And it might help it, but for me personally, it was the way forward. And I'm now 12 years post-op from having the ileoanal pouch.
12 years?
12 years. And touch wood, every time I get my biopsies done, everything's great. And
so you still go for checkups?
I've got to go for biopsies every 3 years.
Alright.
Because they removed my, it's not very nice talking about it, but they removed my rectum and stuff like that, so basically I've got to watch that I don't get any wee bad cells appearing.
Ah.
But touch wood, I've been fine.
So, anyway, moving from that, what was your hair colour before? Because I can't even remember.
So I've gone from
what's your, wait a minute, what's
my
your,
bowels to my hair.
so what was your natural colour?
Dark.
Was it
Darker than you are.
really?
No, the colour of Georgie. Take that off, maybe. That's the colour of Georgie. I've got some dark. See?
Uh-huh.
I was
So you were naturally dark
I
hair?
was always black-headed.
Alright.
But I went grey when I started going grey when I was 30, 35.
I started before that.
Oh, really to you.
But decided not to maintain the grey.
Well, I got mine dyed for years and years and years, and I got fed up with it. 10 years, 11 years ago.
So did you just let it grow out?
Yeah.
You just let it grow out?
Well,
I
went to Ruth. I'm very fortunate. I've got a daughter who's very good with colour, and she sort of bleached my hair like very pale blonde, and then I just let it grow from there. So I went through my hair grows very, very quickly. So I went through a period of maybe about, I would say 18 months where it was like a wee bit shaded, and then it just grew into this.
But what made you decide to do it?
I got just fed up with all this constant. I was worried about the chemicals in my head as well, because I didn't want chemical, and I had terrible psoriasis all around my scalp because of every time. And the only thing that stopped it was actually the hair dye. Stopped the psoriasis, and then I thought it was a bit strange. So then I stopped getting my hair dyed, and the psoriasis went away, and my hair is much healthier.
I can never ever see myself just letting the grey grow through.
It's got its downsides, because people do look at the grey hair and they think, well, you're really old. And you get people saying things to you in TK Maxx and places like, do you want a wee bag? Are you paying with a wee credit card? No, I want the same size of bag as everybody else. I've got the same size of credit card as everybody else. But they do tend to sort of like, you get put into a slot that you're an old lady with hair.
But Emma went into kind of really kind of white.
She's only 40.
I know.
That's my daughter. 42 she is actually.
I mean, she did it as well. You both went that sort of colour about the same time.
I reckon she copied me.
Emma, don't watch. But it was fashionable to do it whenever.
I found it quite liberating, and a lot of people during COVID, sorry speaking from the mouthful, a lot of people during COVID decided not to grow out their hair, and it became quite a fashion thing.
That's right.
The one thing I'll say, two things I'll say is, one, it's very liberating because you don't have to get your hair dyed all the time, you don't have to worry about roots.
I go every 3 weeks.
And two is, can't remember what the second one is, you get dementia, no, is that your hair's in better condition, without doubt.
Has it got nothing to do, like for me, my hair is part, I mean, I was going to say part of me, but I know you're going to have a comeback and say it's part of me as well, but it's just like, and I do think it's a vanity thing. It is a vanity thing as well. You know, when you said people look at you with that colour, I'm sure if
you do get treated like an old lady, but I'm an old lady, I'm 66.
But do you see yourself as
Oh God, no, I don't think I'm 66.
I know this is the thing. I mean,
I don't feel I'm 66 in the way I approach life. I don't feel 66 in the way I feel about life. I don't.
But you think the way you act, the way you act.
I've no intention of being that. I mean, Georgie said to me in your kitchen tonight, but Granny, you're nearly 100. I thought, you know, it's perception. It's people's perception of you. And if people want to be narrow-minded enough to think that you, because you've grey hair, you're an old lady, then that's their problem. That's not my problem. Because I know I'm not an old lady. I am to a 4-year-old, but to me, I'm not.
Well, funny she said, because I said to Rico a couple of years back, I said, you know, we're so different to our grandparents, because we looked at our grandparents and thought they really were like a granny and blah blah blah. And Rico says to me, don't kid yourself, when Theo looks at you, he sees an older person, he sees his granny. That's the way children...
And yet, you know, the other day I was away with my grandchildren, the other two, my grandsons, over the weekend there, and Taylor's 14 and Max is coming up for 11, and we were away fishing and Max got really excited. Anyway, long story short was I ran, because Max got excited because he caught a tench. It was quite a big one. So I ran to help him, and he was running towards me to say, Granny, Granny, Granny. And I tripped over a manhole cover and I fell on the ground, and it was really hard fall and rolled about, and I lay there and I just started laughing. Because I could see the terror in Max's face, because I think he thought I'd, you know, died or something. And I started laughing, and I got myself up and all the rest of it, went and looked at the fish, blah blah blah. And later on that night, Max said to me, he says, Granny, how old are you? I said, I'll be
really?
I said, I'll be 66 this year. He went, see, I can't believe that, because when you fell down, if you were really 66, you wouldn't have got back up again. You'd have just laid down
Say in their head 66.
And I thought, well, do you know, that's good, because he realises that I don't want to be an old granny.
Yeah.
But I'm not, as you can see, you know, like fashion icon or anything like that, but I think that a lot of it's your own perception of what you are as a person.
No, see, I think you've got your own style. You've got a unique style to you.
Yeah, I know.
No, you do.
It's called the Wurzel Gummidge look.
No, but you do. You have your... Susan's very much into her gardening, her garden.
Yes.
Being natural,
Yes.
It's all about totally different to me, who loves all the makeup and
Got my face
I painted her
nails.
nails. I used Georgie as an excuse. As Georgie, should we paint? Because we had Georgie here earlier on.
You're positively sluttish.
God knows what you think of me when you look at me.
No, don't dare do that. It's different people. We're just different people. I mean, I'll go home and my husband will think, oh, she's got feels.
Then Georgie was trying to get me to do her toenails. I said, it's not happening.
No.
I don't do toes.
No. I think age is just a state of mind, without doubt. Age is a state of mind, and I think that I just think that you've got to just be yourself. I mean, you yourself in the way you do things, I'm myself in the way I do things, and that's okay.
Yeah, but I'm not always glamorous. Just some of the time. I just sounded so wrong. I sounded so wrong. I didn't mean that, but I am. Sometimes I can be. Sometimes. I mean, you know, most of the time I'm in gym gear. I'm running about with gym gear. I mean, today at the gym, they pulled me up on, Andri, do you not actually shower in between classes? And I'm like, no. Why would I do a class at 9:30, and then if I'm doing one at 12:30, shower in between? We were having that conversation today. I was like, no, I'm just very... I'm showered now. I came home and I showered. Only for you, Susan.
I'm on a diet, by the way.
She's going to start
Fasting.
fasting. She's going to try fasting. You're going to start it tonight?
Starting it tonight.
Starting it tonight at whatever time, and then take it from there.
I'm going to try it because I did Weight Watchers and I lost nearly 2 stone. I went to Cyprus and I put it on again. Cyprus. And then I went to...
So Cyprus, when you... Not when you were with
No,
no.
no, yes, Palma. Then I went to Palma in September and I just ate and ate and ate again. I put 1 stone back on. So before I go away to Cyprus again, I want to lose another one.
Okay, so while Susan and I were chatting, the camera switched off, and actually you find the best conversations happen off camera, and this happens to me quite often. I think, oh, I wish I'd got that on camera. So we ended up talking about we ended up talking about anxiety, because I went through a period where I had terrible anxiety, and actually Susan helped me through it, because you've had experience of it as well. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't that I went to Susan about it, but Ruth knew about it, and Ruth saw how much I was struggling with it and wasn't coming out of it, and spoke to you about it, didn't you? Mm-hmm. And then what Susan normally does, she'll phone me up, she'll go, how are you? And then I go, well, this is happening, and you kind of...
I think when you recognise it in other people. because I could see it happening in you because I'd been through it. And that's when you see it in other people and you think, oh my goodness me. Because you know that you can offer some support, but you can also offer some wisdom and perhaps coping mechanisms to get through it.
What I found was you understood what I was saying to you.
That's the most important thing, is understanding, because a lot of people don't understand.
Yeah, it's hard. If you haven't been through anxiety, you don't understand it. I used to be one of those people because it wasn't anything I'd ever suffered with, and it just came on me
very suddenly,
from nowhere. So I think it was just a combination of losing so many people, and then it just hit me. So I'd lost my mum, I'd lost Jim, Gula's husband, Lulu had died, my friend in Cyprus had died. You know, we met her daughter, George's god sister, her mum had died, all within.
The thing about anxiety is a strange thing, I find, because it's not any one thing that causes it. It's like lots of little tiny things, and then all of a sudden it's like the straw that broke its camel's back. What happens is that it all gets, you cope to a degree. I find personally, I'm not saying this is for anybody else, but personally I found that you were coping, you were constantly pushing back the water and coping, and you were swimming fine and you were doing really well, and then it was a tiny wee thing that just said, wait a minute, I can't do this anymore.
I think it was, so I plodded on, and then COVID hit, and then I had this
anxiety,
fear of death. It was a fear of death with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was a fear of death.
Mine came from being ill. Definitely came from being ill, and it came.
So you'd never suffered before?
I think being creative, right? I'm quite a creative person, and I sort of did the old hearty thing and what have you. I think being a creative person, you're always slightly on edge, because that's what drives your creativity. I think you're always slightly on edge. So I always had this sort of a like anxious way of approaching life. It was always very fast and very furious, and the jobs I did and what have you, it was always very fast and very furious. And then I got ill, and when I got ill I realised I might die, and then I didn't die, which was great for everybody, and me included. And then what happened after that was I got PTSD. So it's post-traumatic stress disorder, which hit me with abundance. Not when I was ill, because I was actually in so many drugs and things like that to help me with pains, what have you, that I wasn't stressed in any way. But afterwards, I realised what could have happened, and that's when it hit. And then it sort of snowballed from there. That everything was, oh my goodness, like if I got a sore toe, I was going to get sepsis, or you know, it was like constant. What the doctor, it was catastrophising, it was ruminating, like something that size within the space of an hour or 2 hours. If I sat and thought about it, it became that size, and it became out of control. And then the sort of like what they call the monkey chatter, the negativity started in your head, and it was constant, and then you were always trying to, I had this thing.
That's your biggest enemy though. What goes on in
there
is your biggest enemy. That's what you're fighting with. That's what you mustn't let take control.
But it's easy said.
I know.
It's the easiest thing in the world for somebody to say, oh, get a grip, or oh, it's not as bad as you think, or you need to stop doing that. And that's really hard to do when you can't stop. You're trying with every fibre of your being to stop, but the anxiety is very real to you.
It's very real, but it really...
Remember you said when you couldn't swallow?
I couldn't swallow, I couldn't eat. Rico would go,
but that's because your head was telling you you couldn't swallow.
I literally couldn't.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't eating because I had a fear that I was gonna choke, that I wasn't gonna be able to breathe. It was all this breathing thing, because I took that breathing attack as well on Christmas Day. I kind of caught my breath.
But that's panic. That's just pure panic. That's a panic attack. That's another thing altogether. Panic attacks can be incredible.
Is that not the same thing, panic and attacks and anxiety?
Yeah, well, they'll go hand in hand, but panic attack is a real thing. I mean, like, some people, I remember I used to take terrible panic attacks.
How did yours show?
Oh, it started in Safeway. Oh gosh, my age. I was in Safeway at the pizza counter, and I just had this, I was so many things in my head that I had a complete blank, and I didn't know what it was. And I started, like, the person was speaking to me, it was at a pizza counter, and she wanted, and I could see her face, but it was like her voice was disjointed. It wasn't in the same time as I was hearing it. And then I had pins and needles all down one side of my head, and I thought I'm having a stroke. And then I thought I was having a stroke. Everything went wrong after that. And I remember I came out of the place and I got myself together and I went home, and then I had another panic attack. And John phoned the doctor, my husband, he phoned the doctor, and he asked me what year it was, what date it was, who was the Prime Minister and all this stuff, and I came through that, and he said I had a panic attack. But I've had horrendous panic attacks where you're always feeling like you're walking on a marshmallow. It's really, really weird, horrible. And I remember I met this woman once, I had suffered terribly from panic attacks, and she said, do you know what I do? She says, I sing a song. I said, what? I thought she was about. And she says, no, I always, when I feel it coming on, I sing a song.
It's about diverting your mind though,
yeah.
isn't it?
And I sang the Flintstones song, Flintstones, and that's what I sang every time I went in anywhere that I was feeling. And it sounds very simplistic, but it's about stopping that flow, not letting the panic attack take hold. But it's a very debilitating thing, anxiety, very debilitating. And there's now a really really good book. Can I say about the book?
Well, we were having the conversation about the book.
So can I say that?
Yeah. I
read a really good book. It's How to Be Your Own Therapist, and it's not about one of these do good books and, you know, like you're going to change your life or anything. And it's basically about monkey chatter. And the monkey chatter is when maybe somebody's experienced it, whereby you've got all these negative thoughts, and then you go to your bed at night and you wake up in the middle of the night, and again the negative thoughts start, and they become huge and they get bigger and bigger and bigger depending on their level of anxiety. And it's been known now that your brain actually becomes addicted to that type of negativity, so you can actually retrain your brain to stop that negativity, and it's not easy. It's not easy, because I have tried it, and I used to be incredibly anxious, you know, to the point where I used to sit and think, try and outdo fate. Like, if I think this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, if I think about it all going to happen, then it won't catch me out and it won't happen. And that's just extreme anxiety. So to stop all that negativity going through in your brain, you've got to at one point say, wait a minute here. So try and counteract it with a positive thought. And it's a slow process, but it definitely works. But you found that too.
For me, what worked for me was facing my fears. For me, like when I would feel all that coming on, because I started reading about it and trying to take control of it, basically, take control of my head. Because I knew it was all in my head, but your
head.
Yeah, it was taking over. I had a fear of through COVID. I would see. I mean, we brought up Georgie. We were like, we from a baby.
We had see her. It was awful.
Yeah, and we didn't see it. And then they would arrive and speak to us from the window, and I would just break down. Yeah. The minute she would arrive and I would see
we lost 2 years of that woman's life, didn't we? We lost, I mean, a rebirth. You remember that? Anyway, that's another story.
And it was, and I remember that my anxiety. I think what made it worse for me was, and Ruth says, "Can I?" This was right when COVID started, and Ruth says to me, "Can I bring Georgie round?" Right, and I had this fear of COVID, and I think that's what broke me. And I says, I can't. I'm not in a good place, Ruth. I can't. Do you remember that?
But then you beat yourself up for saying.
Yeah, and that made me worse. Yeah. I hated myself. I literally like.
But that's what monkey chatter does. It makes you. It takes control of everything.
I was ashamed of myself because I remember saying, "This is big for me to admit," but you knew, and I said, Ruth, I haven't got it in me just now. I can't take Georgie. I'm not in a good place to take Georgie.
Then when she went away, when that didn't happen, you beat yourself up.
Yeah, and I said, I hated myself. How could I do that? I'm a coward. I allowed this to take me away from my, like the things that were going on in my head, and then I just went downhill after that. I would get anxiety.
And yet you're the last person on this earth that I would have thought would suffer from anxiety.
Yeah, me too. I was the person that would have got get a grip.
Because when Ruth phoned me and she says, I'm really worried about Andri, she's not coping very well. I said, what do you mean? And she says she's really having this really bad anxiety, and I went, oh, stuff that for a game of soldiers. I'm going to phone her. And I was shocked when I heard how bad you were. I really was shocked. But it's a terrible debilitating thing, and the worst thing you can say to anyone who's got anxiety and is suffering is like, oh, get a grip. You know, see when people say that to you, you think, you know, have you ever suffered from this? And it's not one of these get out of jail free cards, get out of jail free, you know, the cards whereby, you know, you can use it as an excuse for things. I'm sure there are people who do it, and I'm not saying this, maybe they've got other issues, but it's a real horrible, debilitating time in your life. And of course, a lot of people get it on the back of the menopause as well. A lot of people
Right, that's another thing, that's
get it on the back of the menopause.
That could have been part of mine as well.
I think it's a huge spectrum of situations that can accumulate in that horrible feeling that you get where you feel as if your whole world's falling apart, and you can't even express it to people around about you because they don't understand. They think you're just being monkey or whatever, you know, like. And I even see it just now with my kids. So I've got 4 grown-up kids and they're all wonderful, but oh my god, they're hard work. But you see that anxiety come through. They're all creative kids as well, and you can see the anxiety coming through in them. And I often feel guilty because they saw me in a state of anxiety, and because I was really worried at one point, have I sort of made them anxious, you know? And then that becomes full circle again. You can't take responsibility for that. It's just, but I think we're all, you know, we're all human beings, and we're all go through different things at different stages of our life, and you don't know what someone in the street's suffering from.
No, you absolutely don't. You really don't. But it's made me understand anxiety, whereas I would never have understood it.
Very, very debilitating.
I would never understood it before, and it's something like I would hate for it to come back. I mean, there's a difference between anxiety. Sometimes you get that nervousness.
Nervousness is not a bad thing. That adrenaline feeling whereby it keeps you busy and it keeps you sort of like, it keeps you on top of things if you're under stress or something like that. But then you can go into stress, which is another big thing that leads to all sorts of problems. But anxiety is a different animal altogether. It's cruel and it's not selective.
Do you think you can control it now?
Yeah, without doubt. Because I feel that I don't have days where I'm still anxious, you know. I think, oh my god, something's going to happen. Like, I think it's more with the grandchildren. If they're sick, I get quite anxious because I'm not in control of it. But to control it, to go back to your question about controlling, I think that it's taken a long time. It's taken a lot of hard times to bring myself back to it, and it's all these coping mechanisms whereby you think it's about, you sit there and people talk about cognitive behaviour, CBT and all the rest of it. That's all very well if you've got the time to do that and you want to sit down and do that whole thing. But I do find a very simplistic way of doing it is, it used to be that if I was going out in the car, I would say, what if I have a crash and I kill everybody in the car? I mean, stupid stuff.
No, but can I stop you there? See when I was going through that period and I was just starting to come out of it, I remember taking Georgie a walk up at the back road.
If a car comes off the road and kills her.
And I'm like, oh my god, I shouldn't be walking it. And I remember having that, and I've never had that thought before when I'm out walking.
One of the things that helped me a lot was I used to write a wee list in my head of the pros and cons of things, right? So I used to say, I'm going out in the car, right, okay, so my anxiety tells me I'm going to have a car crash, I'm going to kill all my children in the car, I'm going to kill myself, I'm going to kill somebody that's in another car.
Is that why you stopped driving?
To a degree, yeah, but then also because my husband bought this big car and I can't drive it. Anyway, that's another story. So what we do is I sit there and I think, right, okay, I'm a good driver, I've not had an accident, so that's a tick on that side. And when I did all the wee ticks, I had more positive things than I had negative things, and that kind of gave me a wee boost. And I thought, well, I'm being silly. And that built over a period of time. Every time I thought a bad thought or a negative thought, or something was going to happen, or someone was going to die, or something was going to happen to somebody, I used to think, right, stop, think about it. This is the positive side of it. That's the negative side of it. And every single time the positive outweighed the negative. And that's what it's a building block.
That's my biggest fear, and I have to fight, is like something happening to my children. I can't. That's my grandchildren. That's what you were saying earlier on. You worry about your grandchildren. Yeah, it's that.
But I think that's a control thing, because you know that you're not hands-on. It's their parents that are hands-on.
No, I'm gonna
For me it is.
No, I would disagree because
you're Andri.
Yeah, I don't. No, I wouldn't say it's because I'm not hands-on, because
But
I trust
But that's the way it works. That's the way anxiety works. It works in different ways for different people. Where's he going?
He's going to do his delivery.
Right, okay, sorry.
He's delivering his food. Susan and I chat so much that the camera switches off, and then we just carry on chatting. So we're about 2 hours since the last chat. Plenty of wine, just chatting, catching up. So we're just going to finish off, Lily, no, we're just going to finish off with something that we find quite funny, which was when Ruth went into labour and how it ended.
She was not happy.
And I was not happy. So this is how honest and upfront we are with each other. So Ruth's plan was that the only person that was going to be at the birth was George. That she was only going to have George. Therefore, she wasn't going to offend Susan. She wasn't going to offend me. And that's how it was going to be.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And then,
So then, what happened was, long story short, Ruth goes into labour. Pain kicks in. She wants her mum.
Oh.
So Susan turns up.
I went to the way, and it was fine, it was great, and everything was going well, and George was amazing.
I was extremely jealous at that point.
Yeah.
Stop.
Underestimate.
Stop. Battery.
What? I will not be outdone by a battery.
You are kidding me.
It's me and technology.
So yeah, we've changed the battery. So where was it? I was
Why
jealous.
is that square on my face?
I was focusing on you. You're special. Right. So you ended up being
In the labour ward.
in the labour room.
Lovely.
So I was at home. I heard Susan had arrived in the labour room, and I was like, Rico, get your shoes on. We are on our way to, where was she? Glasgow.
It was the Queen Mother's.
Queen Mother's.
Queen
Da, 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 da.
Fantastic.
We are on our way. So we got there, and you came and met us downstairs. Do you remember? You came at one point. You came down.
I came down. I said everything was going well, and I went back upstairs again.
No, but do you remember we were? Because at that point we didn't know what they were going to call Georgie.
I thought Susan was a lovely name.
Anyway, no, wait to remind you. So we were down, and Susan, and she'd been up there, and I'm like, she got in, and
hate her.
And I'm sat out here, So then we decided, have they said what they're going to call the baby? We knew it was going to be a girl, didn't we? We knew it was going to be a girl. Do we know what they're going to call her? No. And Susan pipes up, I think Maya is up. Do you remember that? So Susan says, I think Maya, which comes from the from the Greek name of May.
It was the 1st of May. That's why I'm saying
it was the 1st of May, and I think Maya, and it comes from the Greek word May. I think is a lovely name. So she's thinking it's Greek, it's this. She's going to go for it. And I'm already not happy because
I want to call her Andri.
I'm already not happy because she's in the labour room, and I'm sitting here and she's trying to patronise me with, it's a Greek name, Maya, and I'm going, it also means witch. Do you remember that? So I'm sitting there like this, and I'm Susan standing and I'm sitting there going, it also means witchery.
But you know, that's not a bad thing, because so it was very challenging being with Andri that day.
I mean, you know me, what you say is what you get. If I feel something, you're going to know about it.
You know, I was on the receiving end of it. But I was very privileged to be there. It was just amazing, and it's one of the best things I've ever done.
And you
I
know,
can't speak about it because she keeps putting
to fast forward, we will go back, but just to fast forward, when we were coming out together after we'd seen the baby and all that, you'd said to me, you'd explained that was the first time you'd ever experienced that.
Yes, absolutely.
And I was like, and I was really happy.
Because
honestly,
before that you were a wee bit miffed because you went there.
No, yeah, because that's just a natural feeling.
But you had been there.
I think you would have felt the same. How would you have felt if I was in there?
I would have killed you.
to admit their natural feelings. It's a natural
I
feeling.
understood that. I did
Yeah.
understand because I did concede at the end.
No, but yeah, but
I was very generous because at one point I came out and when she was having a tantrum in the hall, and I said to the midwife, I said, "You need to let her in to see this baby." And she went, "But we can't because you're the only birthing partner." I said, "I don't care. I will not go back in. She needs to see this baby." It's about damage limitation at this point because she was going to actually start chewing the curtains. So we let her in and she saw her grandchild.
I did know, but
and it was wonderful.
But
It was
Susan had
I
actually.
think they had champagne on the way home. It was wonderful.
So Susan had actually. So Susan was in. Ruth gave birth, and you said George had said phone my mum.
She said, "Phone my mum." I said, "Cause then I can do." He says, "Phone my mum, tell her everything's okay." Because there's a wee bit of panic at the end. So I phoned Andri and I says, "Hi Andri, congratulations." She says, "Get out here."
No,
let
you
me in
said,
see this
you said,
baby."
you said congratulations, yeah. We have
I said,
a beautiful granddaughter.
Get out here, let me in.
That is actually the truth. That's what.
Get me
So Susan, congratulations, yeah. We have a beautiful granddaughter. I was like, so when do I get to see her? Let me in.
Let me in. And I went, "Oh."
And they actually were not. They were adamant. They weren't
They wouldn't let me in.
Gonna let
I
me in.
had to actually go and negotiate.
No,
with
no,
the
do you
girl.
not remember I phoned, I was in the corridor and I says to George, you need to grow and tell them you want your mum in there. If you want me in there, you need to tell them you need to...
To be fair, I did say that was a bit unfair. So what I did was I went and spoke to the midwife. There's a change of midwives, and I went over and I said, "Look, this is about damage limitation. We need to get these people in." She's just really excited to see her new granddaughter. You can understand that. And she says, "Well, I'll let her in if you don't go back in." I said, "Well, I won't go back in." So I sacrificed a lot.
It's actually a big thing.
And it was wonderful.
It is wonderful, and it's good that we, like, I would not take that away from Susan, especially when she
you
said,
would.
"No, I wouldn't actually. I would not."
Okay.
Because
Well, you
no, because I got, you know, as a mother of 3 sons.
We're very lucky, you know. We're
Yeah,
very lucky
yeah.
because, and do you know who's the luckiest person in all of this relationship is Georgie, because she's got both her grandparents who go on holiday, who can slag each other off, who can sit here and be candid about everything that's going on and be honest about it. And I think that's really important.
Yeah.
There are a lot of children who don't have that.
Me as a mother of 3 sons, I'm extremely lucky because I have such a great relationship with the girls, as you all know. I have a great relationship with Susan. I had a great relationship with Mary as well. It was really hard for Mary as well because Kelly allowed me in to see the birth of Theo, which is something that a mother...
I would have fought you for that.
I think Mary did as well.
Did she? Did she
Well,
lose?
well-
What did you do to her?
No, it's like...
Did you gag her?
No,
Did
no.
you lock her in a cupboard?
No, God rest her soul. She was an amazing...
She was a lovely lady.
She was an amazing lady.
Lovely.
She
Do
was...
you know, do you think Anna looks a double over?
No, I think she kind of looks a bit more...
Oh, you
like-
think everybody looks like Yeah, this is Anna, who's got blonde hair and blue eyes, looks adorable.
excuse me. Can I see my blue eyes?
Grey hair. Grey hair and brown eyes, kiddo.
Anyway, I just thank you, God, for our family. Anyway,
Tolerance.
anyway, cheers. I think we should end the vlog here. We've chatted about many things. Here's your glass.
Alright, okay.
And we'll catch up next time. I think we've kind of...
I hope you have a laugh.
If nothing else.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Good health.